Hmong people have come a long way. Don't let go of our culture. This is a quote from Pa Der Moa. Although removed from the hustle and bustle of the modernized art-influenced culture of Eau Claire, Hmong culture has a wide-reaching influence in the Eau Claire area. For my presentation, I decided to look into the Hmong culture of Eau Claire and find a little background on the Hmong culture in Eau Claire, find a little background on modern Hmong culture, how I went to a dinner with one of my good friends to study his family and how they have taken culture from Laos and brought it to the United States. And then I am going to review comparisons between the Hmong culture and the culture I'm a part of. I would first like to discuss the background on how Hmong culture found its way to Eau Claire. The Hmong people were a small sect in China. In the 1600s, the Chinese began to persecute certain freedoms like religion and, well, for the most part, religion and farming practices. So they removed themselves from the Chinese culture and moved west so that they could make their own country of Laos. During the Vietnam conflict, the Laotian people were backed the French before the U.S. came in, and then backed the U.S. when the U.S. came in. The United States came in, and of course we know we removed ourselves from this conflict, and then left to go home. When we left, the Laotian people were persecuted violently by the Vietnamese government, so many of them had to flee as refugees and move into different places, like the U.S. took them in Texas, Minnesota, and Wisconsin, and they also traveled to France and other parts of Asia, such as Japan and Thailand. Modern Hmong culture in Eau Claire consists of different art festivals, and the farmers market down in Phoenix Park is a mirror for all of that. When you go down there, you can look and see this massive landscape of people and all of their different farming practices, their musical traditions, different art and fashion that they use, and then they also offer different events at the Hmong Cultural Center, like music festivals and dance events. After giving my little bit of background on the Hmong culture and the impact that we can see around the area, I'd like to go into the event I attended. So the event I attended was not so much an event as it was a private dinner between one of my friends from high school, his wife, and his family. My role at the dinner was to sit back and to kind of immerse myself in the dinner and to really look in and discuss different aspects of their lives that I don't get to see every day. I'd like to discuss now what we actually did at the dinner. So the dinner we had a curry noodle dish that was called kapung, it was really good, extremely spicy. That's something I learned is Laotian food is a lot spicier than what I previously thought it was. I'm used to, salt and pepper, and that's about it. This had curry, different types of chilies, and other things like that. And then for dessert, they made me something that they don't usually do on a Sunday night dinner, and that was nava, which is a flavored ice. It had coconut flavoring and cream flavoring. So it was kind of like a pina colada, but just take the pineapple out. It was very tasty, but I mean, their dessert servings aren't like ours. You don't get a large blizzard for less, or for dessert. You just get very little. Um, we sat and we talked about Ansel's parents and how they traveled from Laos with his brothers, who were very young yet, and made their way to Eau Claire and settled there. I'd like now to discuss how the dinner affected me, and the differences of the Hmong culture and what culture I know. I asked questions, but most of my questions were through Ansel. So I would talk to him, and he would give them to his dad, so there was no communication errors. And then I would talk to his wife, who spoke English, and she would talk to her mom about, Ansel's mom, about how the dinner was. They communicated back and forth and then gave communication back, because although Ansel's parents do speak English, they don't speak English very well. So we didn't want to screw up any communication to offend, and this made communication crucial between me and him, and body language was extremely crucial. Sit up straight, eat your dinner, don't talk until dinner was done. It was very interesting. After dinner, I felt extremely blessed to be able to share that experience with them. It was extremely enjoyable. I learned a lot. I enjoy learning about different cultures, so it was nice to see, although it was such a small little bit of learning, I did end up learning quite a bit from them. Although there were differences, there were also a lot of similarities. So, before dinner, they said a prayer, just like most of us do. But it wasn't a long prayer, and it didn't talk about, everybody else. It discussed thankfulness, and that was that. It was short and to the point. There are a lot of similarities too. You eat with chopsticks, although that's not a similarity. You eat with a utensil, a basic utensil, and you keep that utensil in your fingers and don't put it down. And you also don't talk until the meal is done. You eat. I shouldn't say fast. Nobody really ate fast except me, because it was interesting and good tasting. The differences made me appreciate the amount of influence that the area of Hmong immigrants have on the entire culture of Eau Claire. There were different tastes, different flavors, different things that we take for granted a lot of the time. If they would be gone, we wouldn't have certain in-city farming techniques that have worked so well. Lots of different spices that aren't used in a lot of Asian cuisine around here were brought with Laotian people. So, um, although, like I said before, the Hmong culture is removed from the hustle and bustle of modernized Eau Claire and the culture, it's still there. Without those things, we wouldn't be able to, we wouldn't have, like I said before, spices, music, art, farming techniques around the area. It just shows how their culture that came from Laos to here brought such an impact on our culture, and then also had modern ties to our culture here. Different musical techniques that are being used by people, folk singers around here and up-and-comers around here. My dinner was extremely enjoyable. I really enjoyed being able to connect with people that I usually wouldn't find time to connect with, because it's different. It's something different, and usually people don't like different. It just showed me the importance of doing something different, and opening my mind to something different. And although the differences are there, the comparisons are the similarities are there too. So there's my culture is not so different from theirs, um, and that just shows that although a people can be taken from one place and moved to another and dropped right into a different culture, the impact is always there. They talk about America being a melting pot, and that's true. It's really nice to see that one person can share a meal with another person and learn new things about themselves just in a short 2 hours of eating. So, thank you very much.